channel mammals. I thought, you know what? I have on another dress that I made. And remember, I told you every once in a while, I would show you a dress that I made. So here's one that I made. It's a very funny dress because it buttons, the skirt buttons onto the blouse. So you can unbutton the skirt and wear the blouse with another jumper or skirt or trouser. So anyway, I made this myself and I used some little plaid buttons. I'll come closer to you so you can see me. And this is beautiful linen. Isn't this beautiful, the linen of the skirt and the blouse? And I used plaid buttons. And my necklace is called Drive-In. See it? It's all little cars. And you know what these cars do? When your mobile phone rings, these cars blink. Isn't that strange? It's so eerie. I love it. And then here's a bracelet that is like the necklace that I had on the other day. It's my dog collar bracelet. Isn't that fun? This is how it connects here in the middle. So, okay, we've already been here before, so we won't mention this unless we want to. Let's go into the dining room, shall we? Now this dining room, I believe if I remember correctly, it has 5 entries. Come here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you believe it? 5 doors into one dining room. And we used to use that to our advantage. We used to have dinner parties here that were so outrageous. You will not believe it. It would be another movie just to tell you about the dinners. But I remember one in particular. It was time for the last course of the dinner. And all the people were sitting around the table, about 23 people. And all of a sudden, there's this thunderous running. And what it was all of our helpers, all the people that were the actors of the dinner, were stomping around on all the floors above. So because it's all wood, it just sounded like a stampede. It was so funny. And then all of a sudden, all the doors flung open, and everybody had kazoos and trumpets with French flags coming out of them. And they played the national anthem, of France. You know, dun 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 dun. And all the people marched around, marched through the butler's pantry into the galley, and came out with dry ice, individual servings of this amazing dessert that I made. It was so much fun. And they sang another piece that went with that. I can't think what it is right now, but it was really eerie and, what was it? It was really eerie and strange and really wonderful. But anyway, I'm here to show you some details of the structure that are still here. Now remember, our dear friends own this house now, and they've done a wonderful job preserving the things that were original to the MacKenzie-Childs movement that happened right here in this home. But let me start with, speaking of structure, notice the beams in all of the floors. They're hand hewn. You see these chips away at the wood? And these beams, this beam didn't go here. It was in another place. But when we took the wall down, this was 2 rooms. And when we took the wall down between the rooms, we needed to hold the beams up so that they wouldn't eventually sag and bounce around. So we put this beam, which is from another part of the house, from one of the sheds that we tore down. That's what we did in here. But all the beams are hand hewn. And so you can just imagine the early days when this house was built. It's a late Georgian house. It was built in the 1700s. And the turn of the century, I think it was 1800, the end of the 1700s, when all things new were starting to come about in this area. So we covered the ceiling in linoleum, which normally is only for walking on. So this was the first time anybody had ever heard of a linoleum ceiling. And then we made a linoleum floor. And then we made a linoleum table. And so everything in our dining room is very functional. It's just linoleum. Or as they say in England, lino. I don't know why they shortened that word, but they did. And then all of the moldings we painted with such care. This is gold leaf, which takes forever to apply, and such delicacy. It's like little feathers of flying gold and some kind of a varnish or a lacquer that we catch the flying feathers of gold on our brush and lay it down and secure it on here. Then we painted these little diamonds, and I loved the way we painted them so that they didn't look rigid. So it's a wonderful contrast because they're just a thin coat, which makes it kind of, what is it? I don't know, just fresh. And then this very rigid tartan. This is actually like paper. And then these wonderful little sloppy checks that we had invented to look like marble. You see how we pulled different colors into our brush. When we first would make a check, we had, on our palette, we had lots of different colors of oil paint. And we would pick up little titches of different colors, green or ochre or any color, and then a little gulp of white, titanium white. And we would pull that little brush, a little square brush, to make a little square. And whatever it was that was on our brush, and then we would pick up some black, even whilst we had the white still on our brush, and we might pull a black that some white would streak down through, or excuse me, or it would, the black would look kind of gray, or here's some streaks in it, you see? And it was here's some green and some ochre, and it just, I don't know. To me, it's still so beautiful. And then a very handsome dark green for the outer casing. And then this wallpaper, really, we almost never found any wallpaper that we liked, but we kind of liked this. This was early on, before people were using a lot of heavy pattern and so forth. Remember, it was really MacKenzie-Childs that brought this idea of pattern everywhere. And paintings on pattern. This is not our painting. It's one of Anne and Chet's that a friend painted for them. But you see how they're not afraid to put this painting on this wallpaper, because the whole world has learned that these layers of things are what make a wall become alive and moving in and out instead of a background. It's trading places all the time. And then we painted down under these windows. And look at this. This is my favorite thing in the whole, I think in the whole house right now, except for one other thing I'll show you. But look at, we made these out of old spools that the thread is silk and would never have held up. So we varnished it tight so it wouldn't come undone. And all of these little dice and stones and glass, and it's just, and it actually, I don't know if it still is, but when I first worked on it, there was a pattern. I'm not sure there is anymore, but there was I believe there was a pattern, but I can't really remember. But I love the spools. Aren't they beautiful? And then these little tassels and these little bows, they've all gotten a little rumpled over the years, and the colors have faded, but I love them just as much. I don't wish that they were back to their regular colors. I just love them. I might do something fun like straighten them out, but even so, I don't mind. Look, here's one that's more of the original colors because it's on the corner. Look, here's one too. But aren't they pretty? But even when they're faded to almost white, they're just beautiful. So that's what I love about things, that they start out one way. See, these were like this. Look. Here, this one's probably gotten more. Look, they were like this, and now they're just dusty in color, but they're just as beautiful. And then this is the fringe made of thistles that we had so much fun working on. Nobody had done such elaborate patterns in a long time, maybe, or ever, and so close together. And when we made this, and see the top? I don't know if you can see it. Maybe on some other lamp or something, I can show it to you. But see all these details in this part? It's like an old Western belt or something. Well, these thistles were so complicated to bead that where we had them beaded, and they're all glass beads, a lady stood in front of the room, and all the beaders sat in long rows at desks with all the little bowls of beads in front of them. And it reminded me of, I don't know, like of a cantor or something. Or my big brother used to be a rower, and the coxswain in the row, after the shell, would count, and they would row to his count, and he would shout a sort of chant. And actually that's how the early ships were rowed. There was always somebody keeping the rowers in perfect order. It was the same thing with the beading. The lady called out in a song-like voice to tell them which bead to pick up next, and next, and next, and pull, and then a string, and next, and next. And that's how these were beaded. Isn't that amazing? All we had to do was dream up the original idea, and then they made it real. But in a way that's so alive, just so precious. Because I feel, when I see them now, I just feel this beautiful life in each one. It's amazing. Well, anyway, let me show you a little bit more about this table as I'm looking at it here. These are not our our chairs. This is, Anne and Chet chairs, beautiful chairs. Oh, but these I love. These actually we gave to Anne and Chet. They came from a Sunday school where the hymnals of the person sitting here in this row would be tucked into their chair behind them. So all of these chairs have hymnals tucked in. And so we have a tradition of singing hymns before dinner and lunch and breakfast. And so we can just reach around the back of our chair, pull out our hymnal, and then sing, "Home is the consciousness of good that holds us in love's wide embrace, the steady light that comforts us in every path our footsteps trace. Our Father's house has many rooms, and each with peace and love imbued. No child can ever stray beyond the compass of infinitude. Home is the Father's sweet well done, God's daily, hourly gift of grace. We go to meet our neighbor's need and find our home in every place.